And right now, I would like to welcome in Michael Templeton, who is a principal at the Ellen Risk School in Central Falls. Mr. Templeton, welcome to Go Local Live.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure. So, I understand that your school has raised some money to benefit the victims of the hurricanes in Puerto Rico. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So our school is a K-5 building, about 450 students. And it was actually our fourth grade teachers and fourth grade students that galvanized this effort, knowing that so many family members and friends who live in Puerto Rico and in Mexico, in fact, had some devastating experiences over the last few weeks. And so wanting to respond to that in a really proactive way. So the teachers got together and kind of brainstormed what they could do, and knowing who our kids are and their energy and interest in wanting to help, put together this dress down day. So in
Sure.
Central Falls, all of our students are asked to wear a uniform, and the uniform consists of
In the public, in the...
That's correct.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a pretty interesting concept that I actually was not aware of, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are not aware of that either, that there's a school uniform, basically.
So it was actually a parent-driven effort that created the uniform and
Sure,
the
what is it?
requirement. So students wear polo shirts, either blue, white, or red, like this one.
All right.
And they can choose whether or not they want the school logo based on the building that they're in, and either khaki pants or jeans. So it's pretty
Fairly uniform. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's stuff that the kids can afford and be comfortable in, but it just gives us a sense of unity and identity, really, in the district.
Sure.
So we decided that one day to do a dress down day, or a no uniform day, really.
So bring in the athletic pants or the sweatpants and the t-shirts.
Correct, and just
Shorts.
feel comfortable and
Yeah.
enjoy the day, and do it in respect and honor for the folks who had experienced these terrible, devastating
awful.
Natural disasters. So as students came in, we asked them to bring $1, or if their family was able to do more, that would be great. And so they delivered that money to each of their homeroom teachers. The homeroom teachers collected it, and we pulled it all together as a school. With only 12 hours notice, students brought in more than $400. And
Every donation helps.
absolutely, and we know that Central Falls is a community that many of the families struggle from a financial standpoint. So this was a big deal for us.
Right.
And then to add to that, one of the fourth grade teachers, Kathy Bellows, offered to match her students' donations dollar for dollar.
Oh, great.
So her class in particular brought in $53. And so she said, all right, well, I'm going to match that as I promised. Of course, then the pressure was on me to offer my matching. So I matched the $53 as well. And then our superintendent, Victor Capillan, then matched the same $53. So
Excellent.
yeah.
And that's how we arrived at the 400.
Yeah, a little bit more than $400.
Sure.
Yep.
Excellent. And that money will be sent to Puerto Rico?
Correct. So we have some great community organizers in Central Falls. Maria Rivera, who's a councilwoman in the city, and Mayor Diosa himself have really put together some great resources to support the families whose friends and family are back in Puerto Rico and Mexico. And so our monies will go to their office to kind of send out in the way that will best meet the needs of those folks in those countries.
Sure. I understand that you're calling on others to follow suit. Let's talk about that a little bit. You've challenged some people.
Yeah, so we think it's
And I know Rhode Islanders don't like to back down from challenges.
You are absolutely right. So we really gave a lot of thought to how we were going to raise more money, because we figured if we can do this with 12 hours notice, why don't we put the word out and really galvanize the effort? So the superintendent and I and Mrs. Bellows, the fourth grade teacher, met and said, all right, I think we need to up the ante here and really invite more people in. So in addition to the other schools in our district, we've challenged other schools and districts around the state to really step up, particularly their fourth grade, since our fourth graders started the effort.
Right.
And so what we've said is, let's together raise $5,000 by October 31st.
Great.
And not only do you need to accept the challenge from us, but then you need to go and challenge other schools and districts. So the idea is really that ripple effect with a stone in the water, and letting it kind of grow by itself.
Right. It kind of reminds me of the Ice Bucket Challenge from, 4 years ago now?
Exactly, for ALS.
Yeah, for ALS, whereas this is, I think, maybe be even more effective, because you're actually helping people in a concrete way.
Yeah. Well, it
And
was
it could snowball in the same way.
exactly, and it was important for our
Cascade,
students to really see that kind of direct impact. So I particularly called out 5 of my colleagues around the state, principals and superintendents, and said, all right, you got to step up. You've got great kids. We've got great kids. Let's do this together.
Great.
And several of them have already responded and have gotten the effort going in their buildings and their districts.
So the response has been just what you hoped it would have been, it sounds like.
Exactly. So on my Facebook page, I've got, a couple of hundred, maybe 500, 600 followers. And so I put the word out to my network, and then people have shared it over and over again. We've had hundreds of comments and shares and likes. And so the word is really getting out there, and we feel after now about, 24, 36 hours, there's going to be a lot of response to this.
And I feel like this is really good for the students because I feel like it will help their sense of self-esteem and their self-worth to know that they've, in the way that they could, stepped up and made a positive contribution to try to help rectify or remedy a horrific situation. I think that, and that may be a good lesson for them as they move forward in their lives to say, something bad happens, what can I do to make it a little bit better? In other words, like the old saying that it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And that's, I think, what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to light a candle in a dark time.
Exactly. And I think one of our focus points in the district and our school is really around student agency and their ability to say, let's name a problem, but not only talk about the problem, but then what's a solution or some proposed solutions that we can try. It's really around 21st century skills, right? Being able to live in the world, and that's what we do every day as adults. We find problems and we work to fix them, whatever those problems look like.
And when we're at our best.
Correct. You're right.
We don't always live up to it.
Exactly.
I'll speak for myself.
and in this situation particularly, I think because it's such a personal experience
for
with
them,
family and friends
Right.
back in their home countries, I think it makes it all that much more powerful to have them part of naming that problem, thinking of ways to solve it, and then going out and making the difference.
Absolutely. I think that is an undebatable point. But I think that's an awesome fundraiser that you guys have, and an awesome movement that you've started, and I think you deserve a lot of credit for that. But before I let you go, while I've got you here, I just wanted to ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
What made you decide to become an educator? How long have you become a principal? What do you like best about being a principal, and what do you like the least about being a principal? So,
Wow.
if you could just start from the top.
Sure.
Well, when did you decide to become an educator?
Yeah. So I've wanted to be a teacher since I was 4 years old.
And where are you from?
Okay, so I'm a New Yorker.
Okay,
By,
upstate or city?
In New York City. My family's all from Long Island and Brooklyn.
Okay.
I moved to Rhode Island in the year 2000 after finishing my undergraduate at St. Bonaventure University. But I was 4 when I knew I wanted to be a teacher.
That young, before you were even in school.
Yeah, I used to carry around a little briefcase that said, Mr. Michael, and I would go and teach my little brother, who's 2 years younger than me, or my stuffed animals, or the air. It was just something that was in my blood.
Wow.
And it's always something that I've said I wouldn't do anything else.
That is a gift to know what you want to be that young and to actually follow through on that, because I think there's so many people who are like me who never really knew what they wanted to be, and they're still kind of figuring it out. So I give you a lot of credit for that.
Thank you.
So how long were you a teacher for, and when did you become a principal? Could you just tell me that?
So I started as a music teacher, actually, and theater arts. And I did that grades pre-K through 8. For a while, I became a math teacher, and then moved into administration. So after teaching middle school for quite a while, I said, I want to do something that has a bit more of an impact, and so where I can kind of
larger
impact a
scale.
bigger.
Sure.
Exactly. So I became an assistant principal after studying at Providence College. I started at Mercy Mount Country Day School in Cumberland.
Of course.
And so I lived in that world of private education, which was phenomenal, and I was well supported, and it was just a great place to start my administrative career.
Right. And then you moved from Mercy Mount to?
Actually back to Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, okay.
And so I moved into the Carroll Gardens neighborhood of Brooklyn, and worked at a few different schools, some standard public schools, neighborhood public schools, and some charter schools. So kind of diversified my experience.
Sure, you private, charter schools, and obviously now public.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. How long have you been at the Ella Risk School?
So this is 4.5 years, actually. I started there in an unfortunate circumstance. The principal, who had been there for a while, beloved by the community, passed away at the age of 50.
That's tragic and tough for everyone, but tough for you to step into someone's tough to step into a situation where you've got big shoes to fill.
Yeah. I spent that first, so I came in April of that school year and really spent the end of the school year getting to know all of the players. And so
Right.
it was important for me to build relationships with families and students. It was important to build trust with teachers and colleagues. And so that really was what that time was dedicated to.
Sure. So you settled in, and the rest has been smooth.
Yeah, and so you asked about like my favorite part of being a principal and not
That,
so favorite.
that was my next question. What do you
Yeah,
like best? And
yeah.
when you've had a tough day, why is it a tough day? And when you've had a great day, which I'm sure most days are, what makes a day great as a principal?
They're all challenging. I mean, we have 450 kids, 60 staff members.
Sure.
But
you
I'll
didn't
tell
take this job because you thought it would be easy.
Correct,
Right.
correct. I would say my favorite part of being a principal is the time I'm in classrooms with students and getting to see that light bulb that I saw as a teacher on a grander scale.
Okay, that's interesting. So it seems like the best part of being a principal is when you feel like you're a teacher again. That's interesting.
It's
ironic.
Important. It's important for me to identify first as a teacher.
Right.
And I think that's important for the kids to see me as a teacher first, and the teachers as well. On the other end of the spectrum, the most challenging part is getting stuck behind desks, behind paperwork, behind meetings. All of which are
all the administrative stuff that you're supposed to do.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. But I think there's also a real fine distinction between leadership and administration. So the administration is all that kind of weighty stuff.
Tell me about that. What's the difference?
Yeah, so I feel like leadership is about connecting with people and having a vision and building a coalition of people that are ready and able and willing to move toward that vision. As opposed to, again, administrative stuff, which is that paperwork and the phone calls and the emails and the endless meetings and things like that.
Right.
So
very interesting. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us here, particularly about this this very interesting grassroots fundraiser that you've got going? And you've challenged 5 other peers, and you're hoping that they will each of them challenge another 5, and that this thing will kind of grow like a tree with roots and they'll spread far, and before we know it, we'll have raised $5,000, who knows, maybe more, for the victims of this horrific tragedy, which is these hurricanes. But hopefully your vision is that some good can come out of it, and it's a helping opportunity and also a teaching opportunity, it sounds like.
yeah, I mean, I would like to challenge the viewers today. If you are a business or you're an organization or a private citizen that is willing to help us out and help us reach that goal faster than October 31st, we would love to have you join us. So you can reach out via Facebook on Principal Templeton. You could also give us a call at the school at Ellerisk, 401-727-7730. And I think the last thing I just want to say is that Central Falls is going through a huge turnaround, and we call it the comeback city. And I just want people to know that there's amazing things going on in Central Falls, not only in the schools, although we're working really hard too, but the city itself. There's a real revitalization, and I think sometimes the narrative of Central Falls is not a very positive one. So I just want to put it out there that there's great things going on and amazing, amazing opportunities coming up.
And if you don't like Central Falls, you've probably never been there. Because anyone who's from Rhode Island who's been to Central Falls, or been to the restaurants or met the people, loves Central Falls. So it's a great place. I need to get there more often than I do.
Come on down.
But I would love to. So I wanted to thank you for what you're doing. And again, hopefully you'll not only reach that $5,000 goal, but I have a feeling you're going to exceed it.
That would be wonderful.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Russ.
Thank you very much, Mr. Templeton.
All right.
Have a great day.